Hey there! Unity AI is here, it's amazing, and it costs only $10 a month. Or is it? With all the hype, I really wanted to know how good it is and whether it's worth the price. The only way to find out honestly was to actually use it. So I gave it 3 tests. Can it build a full game? Can it help with level design? And can it spin up small prototypes? I ended up with 10 hours of footage and I think I have my answers. Buckle up. Unity AI is in beta, so bugs are part of the deal, and I ran into plenty during testing. Freezes, errors, crashes, disconnects, you name it. But those don't affect my judgment. If you're expecting a polished product and smooth sailing, just wait for the full release. Let's start with question 1. Can Unity AI build a full game? At least with enough documentation to guide it. If you've got a toddler at home, you've seen those car wash games where you pick a car, drive it through a wash, scrub it with a sponge. Simple mechanics with a small number of assets and not a lot of room for mistakes. So, before turning on plan mode and getting to work, I prepared the documentation. A full game design document, a list of every asset the game would need, a coding convention file, and custom instructions describing how I want the project to be built. All of it battle-tested with other AI tools. One of Unity AI's capabilities is generating art assets. I needed assets, so I started there. The cars came back surprisingly well. A clean and dirty version, almost identical. Same shape, same proportions. Consistency is nothing new, but it was nice to see it inside Unity. Everything else was a different story. The instruction to generate cars and wheels separately was ignored. So was the 16:9 background format. Road tiles couldn't tile, looping sounds didn't loop, UI images included text while the GDD specifically has a no-text rule for this project, and one-shot sounds came back as long audio files with many sounds packed into one. Mistakes happen, and a lot of the time the issue is the prompt and the person writing it, so I retried a couple of times. The cars and wheels issue was resolved. So was the issue with the UI. The rest? Regenerated with the same problems. And by the way, I didn't even ask the agent to generate all of those assets. I asked for cars only, but while fixing the wheels, it pulled the rest from the design document and decided to run for it, which is really bad in my book. But here's the thing. None of this is just about the image model. Unity doesn't have the technology to generate art assets. The work goes through third-party providers, with a Gemini handling the LLM side and Unity acting as an aggregator. The agent is the one responsible for orchestrating everything. A bad system prompt or poorly engineered skills affect everything downstream. That's the real Unity side of the responsibility. The other side is the agent knowing its own capabilities. If a provider can't return 16:9 images or looping sounds, the agent should know it before it spends the credits. Worst case, it should validate the output and ideally, in case of a mistake, refund the user. Here, it didn't happen. The agent kept reporting that everything was done and perfect when in fact, it wasn't. The asset generation already hinted that the agent doesn't always read what's in front of it. The code side made it obvious. The most consistent failure was scope. For example, phase 2 was supposed to be the car selection carousel. What I got back was a broken state and code for the entire game. The custom instructions with my coding and naming conventions? Mostly ignored. The GDD? Ignored selectively. The phase plan the agent wrote for itself? Also ignored. And I really tried to maximize the success chance. Structured documentation, plan mode, documenting the result of each step, fresh sessions, trying not to climb past 30 or 40% of the context window, didn't matter. The agent reads what's in front of it once, behaves for a prompt or two, and drifts back to whatever it would have done without them. And this isn't my typical experience with Gemini. I use it often, and while it's pretty bad at suggesting ways to grow my subscriber count, it's actually helpful with other things. Speaking of subscribers, have you subscribed already? Now's a good time. And drop a like while you're at it. But jokes aside, what I uncovered next, purely by chance mind you, explained a lot. My custom instructions told to use vContainer, but when the time came to install it, the agent failed to do so. The issue was it kept inventing a wrong bundle ID containing the word Hadashi Koneko instead of the correct one, Hadashi Kick, and it used an outdated version. Eventually, it gave up, implemented the code without it, and left it broken because the library was still missing. So, why Koneko instead of Kick? A typical hallucination. The agent doesn't know the exact bundle ID, and statistically Koneko, kitten in Japanese, is more likely to come after Hadashi, barefoot, than the English word kick. The real question is, why doesn't the agent look it up? I mean, I saw it fetching web pages. After a bit of digging, I discovered the answer. It does have a web search capability. An internal, Unity-only tool called Web Search. But it only searches Unity-owned domains. Documentation, forums, asset store. The wider web is off limits, and I'm not sure if this is intentional or just a mistake. To confirm the Gemini model wasn't the bottleneck, I rerun the same task as a clean test. First, with Unity AI. It took 6 minutes and returned the wrong bundle ID with a version 3 years old. Then I connected vanilla Gemini via API key and ran the same task. 14 seconds later, I had the correct answer, including a version released only a couple of days earlier. Same Unity, same large language model, same task, just different agent layers. But here's the deal. When you connect an external model, Unity still wraps it with instructions and exposes some of its own tooling. So, in theory, it's still Unity's agent layer. But there's still a difference. Not all of the tools and instructions are available that way. Some are kept for internal use and never exposed to external models. The web search I just mentioned is one of them. On the bright side, while I was working on this video, Unity released a new version of the assistant package that does find the correct bundle ID and version deterministically. It still takes 3 minutes, a ton of web requests, and probably more credits than it should, but it works. This keeps me hopeful. But even when the agent did produce working code, the quality was a mixed bag. The wrong technical choices were the most visible. The car wash game is a 2D project. The agent built it on a UI canvas. It pulled in the legacy input manager. In a Unity 6 project where it's deprecated and disabled by default, and on top of that, I had custom instructions explicitly specifying the input system as the tool of choice. Honestly, this is what I'd expect from any AI agent. They're trained on data that's mostly entry-level and outdated. But from Unity's own agent, I'd expect it to follow current best practices. Setting the output aside, working with the agent wasn't a great experience either. Any modal pop-up would freeze the whole session, a package manager warning about an unsigned package, the TextMesh Pro importer pop-up, the stuff that pops up when you're working on a project. The agent would just get stuck until I dealt with it. So, no walking away while it works. You either sit and babysit, or you come back to find it stuck where you left it half an hour ago. Considering modern LLM capabilities, it was a pretty frustrating experience. So, can Unity AI build a full game? Well, I don't think so. And it doesn't matter how much structured documentation you throw at it. After 8 hours on this project, here's the best result I managed to get. Not exactly a shippable game, aren't it? I'd do a better job manually and faster. And we haven't even talked about the price yet. But before moving to pricing, let's move to the second question. Can Unity AI help with level design? For this one, I didn't use design documents, custom instructions, or anything really. and it happens to be closer to what Unity shows in their own demos. All I did was import a dungeon asset pack from an asset store. You've probably seen me use it in my other videos. And honestly, it works! Well, kind of. 3 minutes after the prompt, I had the recognizable shape of a dungeon. Not perfect. Some corner prefabs were misused, doors were missing, the floor was oversized, but considering the simple prompt, the overall result was really impressive. The kind of first pass you'd almost accept as a starting point. The result we just saw came from a one-line prompt. So my next thought was, if a minimal prompt produced that, imagine what I can achieve by giving it more guidance. Oh boy, I was wrong. I asked for specific changes. Add a second floor with a staircase, fix the corners, throw in some props and windows. The result was just a mess that resembled the room by its overall shape. The corners stayed wrong, the windows never showed up, the staircase led to nowhere. I tried different prompts and variations, started from scratch, but the result was always the same. I even tried a different angle. I grabbed a screenshot from the asset store page, a demo scene built from the same prefabs I just handed the agent, and asked to recreate it. How'd it do? You can be the judge. Looks similar? So, can Unity AI help with level design? It's a yes and no from me. For simple, one-off jobs, probably. Move here, place there, it'll work, and maybe it can even pull off awesome scenes from primitive objects, which could be super beneficial for prototyping, but don't expect it to be your pair-level designer. To be completely honest, I don't think the underlying technology is there yet. LLMs aren't built to reason visually about 3D space, so given those limitations, what Unity AI pulls off is genuinely good. With that out of the way, let's move to the third question. Can it build small prototypes? This one I dumbed down as much as possible. I didn't use plan mode or custom instructions, just the laziest prompt I could come up with. Build me a Flappy Bird with primitive 3D objects. And it worked! No, like, for real, it worked! 3 minutes from prompt to prototype. Orthographic camera, primitive shapes, the full game loop. The restart button text ended up in a weird position, but the game itself runs. So I pushed a little more and asked the agent to generate 3D models, 2D background, and swap them with the primitives. And it was a success also. The bird, the pipes, the background. Honestly, this is the most impressed I got the entire evaluation. There was one issue. The bird ended up facing the wrong direction, flying sideways instead of forward. The kind of fix that takes 15 seconds. Just rotate the model inside the prefab, you know? So I asked the agent to handle it and I kid you not, an hour later, after multiple disconnects and a full editor freeze, the bird was finally facing the right way. But now, the restart logic was broken. On game over, the game would just hang. 20 more minutes of everything is fixed now later, nothing was fixed and the rotation was broken again. I gave up, opened the code I was seeing for the first time and fixed all the issues myself in 15 minutes. So, to answer the last question, can Unity AI spin up small prototypes? Yes, it can. And this is the only use case where I genuinely recommend it. It's fast enough to throw away, cheap enough to try twice. That's a real workflow with real value. The catch is that the moment you want to take the prototype anywhere further, fix something, polish a behavior, iterate on a feel, you're back to the same problems we've seen across every other test in this video. So, treat the prototype as a throwaway. Don't expect to build on top of it. Finally, let's talk about the price. Those 8 hours I spent on the car wash game cost more than 1,000 credits, roughly $10 for a single session. Of course, not every day would be this heavy, so after a month, that's somewhere between $100 and $200, which on its own isn't unreasonable for AI tooling. That's roughly what Claude Code or Cursor costs. The difference is, when you pay premium, you expect premium. And I don't think this beta counts as premium. Then there's another thing. Every failed operation along the way, every interrupted or crashed session still charged me credits. And in my opinion, Unity could take a page from services like Base44 here. They let you fix their AI's failures for free. So, back to the question, is Unity AI worth its current price? For me, it's a hard no. At least, not for now. The bottom line is, the technology is there. The product around it is the part that requires work, and while I think Unity released an unpolished product too soon, they are moving in the right direction. So, for now, I'll leave it alone for a couple of months and then revisit it, hoping things will be better by then. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Keep on creating, and I'll see you in the next one.